Okay, at the end of the last video, I was having a problem with we had implemented the up key thing, but it wasn't working. So I'm going to show you, it took me a while to find the bug, and while I was finding the bug, because I hadn't saved my program and it went off into La La Land, I had to kind of recover, so things might be named slightly differently than before. Because I had to totally retype it. So, lesson learned, every time I'm going to run it again, I'm going to do File, Save. And if I've made changes that are significant, I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to change my version number and save a new one, so I can always go back to one that is working. Okay. So this is, let's recreate the bug that we had. So I've recreated it now that I've fixed it and tested it. So if I hover over here and I press P, so we're in play mode, and I press the up arrow, nothing happens. So this is the bug that we were having. And that shows up in our console window. And what we had was line 4 in module cube move, which is over here. This is the one that I'm editing. It says that requested item move does not exist. And it took me a long time to find this bug because I was the one who made the bug, and it's kind of easier to see it when you're not the one who typed it in. But I was looking at my code and it all looked fine, but here's where the problem was. Down here, when I made this motion actuator, an actuator is the thing that causes this thing to move. When I made this motion actuator, I named it with a capital M. So when it went looking for actuators, what this says is find me the actuator that's called move. It couldn't find one because capitals matter. So I update that. Come over here. Let me save. Save. Very nice. Okay. I should be in the version 3, but that's what you do normally. You would go to version 3. Okay. So let me press play. And my up arrow, and we're moving. Now my down arrow is not going to work yet. When I hit escape, it does bounce back to the original spot, which is nice. My down arrow doesn't work yet because I haven't implemented it. Remember, implement is a word for coding it in particular that we talked about last time. Okay, so now we've learned a little bit about the coding language, some control structures in Blender. So this is how you do an if. We had ifs in Scratch, and they were under our control structures. Here under control, we had if, and we also had if then else. What they use for the second part of the code is called elif. Elif is a common way. This is in Python, so this is an else if. It's so common that we need an else if together that a lot of languages have an elif, which is just else if compressed together. All right, so this is press down, and this is going to make it stop moving. So I'm just going to copy this over. It has bad naming conventions, so I'm going to change those when I bring it over to my code. Oh, and I am going to want to make sure that my indentation, Python, I believe, is one of the ones that's sensitive to indentation. So I am going to want to make sure that the elif is all the way over underneath the if. And over here, I need to, cont is that's bad naming convention. It should say controller, and it should say current controller. It should be descriptive. So we're just going to replace that cont with current controller, and that tells us much more about what is going on there. Okay, now I am going to save. In fact, I'm going to save as. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to previous. Now they should be there. It's not there. Okay, come on. I need you to save as. Back to previous, file. This is really important. Save as is really important if you don't have a tree to track. Lots of software development things for modern things will save that for you. Let's say save. Ah, now it worked. Okay, so I wasn't hitting save correctly. Boy, they really want you to hit save with Blender. Okay, so let's see. So now when I hit the down arrow, press down is positive. So press down is defined here, which is way over here. It's going to set my speed to 0. Okay, and so it should stop moving. So come over here, press P, start moving, and I stop. I start moving, and I stop. Excellent. All right, we are moving things. All right, I'm going to pause for a little bit, and then we'll do the next part of this tutorial. Oh, I need to escape out of my game. Okay, his tutorial kind of ends there, but he does say in the last, or she, Chris, whether he or she, does say in the end that he didn't actually use the own variable in this tutorial, but you, if you created a property for your object called own health, you would be able to read or change this value in Python by calling it like this, own brackets quote health. So let's try that. Let's try implementing that. So here I have the current owner, and which is, so I'm going to, so these are all current controller things. So I'm going to, I don't remember comments in Python, so I'm going to show you what I do to remember how to do different languages. Comments in Python. We need some comments. Oh, I misspelled that. Start with a hash. Okay. So we need to add some things that are human readable to keep things straight. So these are current controller stuff. And then after I do all that current controller stuff, I'm going to do some current owner stuff. And that will help me keep things separate. So let's define a variable. So I can say car health equals current owner, which is up here, current owner equals current owner. Now I think I have to add a property. All right, I'm going to pause for a second because I think we're going to have to add it down here as well. Hold on a sec. Yes, so whatever we add in our code up here, we need to add it into our stuff down here. So what we have to do, and what that's like is in Scratch. So in Scratch, when we add a variable, when we create our own new variable, we go here and we make a variable, make it health, and we can make it for the sprite only, so it'll be for the car, and it goes there. And then I have to do that first before I then do stuff in the script. So this is like our Python window, and this is like our window down below here. So just like I had to make a little thing in here in the variable thing, I have to come down here and I'm going to add a sensor, believe it or not, and the sensor is going to sense the property, and our property is going to be health, and we are going to leave it at that, and then we are going to say current owner. Oh, we have to connect it to our Python script. So that, ooh, that will be interesting. How do I get up there? I think I zoom out. All right, here we go. Really doesn't want me to make this window bigger. All right, I'll have to figure out how to make this window bigger a little bit later, but we've got to get it up there to connect it. So I can move this. Oh, interesting. All right, so let's connect that to there. Oh, it's not going to let us. Sorry. Okay. I just have to figure out how to move around in here. Oh, I see. I can make them smaller. That is convenient. There we go. So now I can connect them in. So now this script can have access to them. And we can set up current owner dot, and then it would be a sensor, because it's over here. It's got to sense what its health is. And we're going to say, and this has to match the text here. We're going to say health. Okay, so now we've added a new variable. Let's make sure it doesn't fail on us, and that everything that was working before is working now. Ooh, everything that was working before is not working now. So let us stop that, and let's go see what's going on in our window, our system console. Okay. Game object has no attribute sensor. Oh, that's why it wouldn't let me connect up, or it didn't want to connect up. Okay, I had to track that one down again. So the reason why, so where we left before was this new, oh, and this is bad. Okay, so car health equals current owner. I don't know why that is up there like that. Current owner dot, what I had before was sensor, which is not correct, it's sensors, and I might have had two errors, but let's correct it. And then we put health. All right, and so that will let us use car health. So find that. All right, so let's hit the magic save, and let's see if that's working. What's freezing on me? There is a lot going on with Blender, so when it goes off into La La Land, it, you know, it's kind of one of the things you have to pay for all the extra good stuff that you're going to get to use. Okay. All right, so it's back now. It looks like it's running. So let me hover my mouse over that window and do up and down, so it is now working again. So that sensor thing should work, and if I check my, I'll get out of that game and let's check our console, make sure there weren't other errors that reported. So that was the last one we did. It just started and finished and everything's good. Okay, so we've added a new variable, health, and we can, so his tutorial kind of ends here, but for you guys to do your, to use Blender for your homework from last week, your homework from this week, I need to add some stuff to this. How to do functions and have your game object have different functions and behaviors. We've added a variable, so that's part of the data abstraction. And then we're going to need to use that variable, and we're also going to introduce some randomness into that. And then also one of the things we're going to have to do with Blender is you'll notice that when you're playing this game, this is your camera perspective, right? This is your camera perspective. And when I hit play, it turns into this lovely lighted world with great materials and everything. When I hit up, the car just kind of goes off into the distance. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a camera object, and we're actually going to have to animate the camera object so it follows behind our car. Now you can think about different games. Some games that do races will have a follow along behind the car, so you see the driver in front. My daughter has one on the Wii that does that. And then you can also sometimes flip between different perspectives, different camera views. So there's lots of, you can do all of that when you're programming with the camera. So I will include some new parts so that you can do, with this game engine, you can do the last two homeworks. And then I'm going to leave off the game stuff for a little while because you'll have enough that you can build some stuff up of your own. And then I'm going to put out some Blender files that are, you know, the simulation for like liquids and fabrics and that kind of stuff, so you guys can see how those work. All right, so I will get back to you probably tomorrow with another couple of these that will help you do your homeworks using Blender. All right, bye. Exit out of that. Farewell.